Welcome traders to another gold analysis by Pips Hooray. It's the first Friday of the month in April, so we're going to expect NFP UK time 1:30 at the New York Open. So we can expect a lot of volume and volatility to come from that, I'm sure, especially if we look at what's gone on in the past with Trump and the other news that's brought a lot of volume, a lot of volatility. I would expect NFP to be no different. Just having a little look at the charts, we've got the 4-hour chart up at the minute, and you can see that we've got that big push from yesterday where we created the all-time highs, and then price rejected off of there and came down with that nice push down, and which got corrected. If we go down to the lower time frames, on the hourly you can see it more clearly now, how price pushed down bearish, and that was based off the back of news. So that was after the Trump tariffs. We pushed up and then we started to recover it, and then moving into the session as we slowly got towards New York Open and the high impact news, price kept pushing down and then it recovered. We talked about some setups yesterday where we might have entries and what price might do, but the problem was it moved so fast and so hard, I didn't find any entries that were good for my setups, so and fit my style. So no trading for me there. If we look into today now, we know that the daily candle yesterday closed bearish. The 4-hour time frame is showing signs of some bearish sentiment, although this new hourly candle, this only just opened, is pushing up quite hard, which could create some problems. But let's go down to the lower time frames and see what that looks like. Okay, so we can see here now that the market has started to create some structure. So on the hourly time frame, you'd have had the high up there where it then pushed down and actually broke through all of these levels here. So some would argue that that was potentially then a lower low. So we've got a bit of a swing, not a lot to work off of. But what we can say here is that price rejected there beforehand, and then when it came back up, it created another resistance there and pushed down, and sort of from there we're starting to see some sort of bearish session structure. Now that doesn't mean that gold's bearish on the whole. All I'm saying is that on the session it's showing bearish structure. So you've got sort of this support here that formed. Okay, we've got the high there, we've then created a lower high, which is then broke to create a lower low, another lower high followed by a lower low. So what we're sort of looking for now, if there is the opportunity for a sell on the session, is then for a new lower high to create, or a high. It could reject off the same level, creating a high, which would then give us the opportunity to ride price back down to this support. Okay, but the key thing is to wait. We can't assume that price is going to do that. We know on the whole that gold is very bullish, okay, and has been moving up, so there's no reason why this couldn't push up. But what I'm saying is that if we can go down to the lower time frames, we might be able to see somewhere where price is creating an opportunity for a sell. Bear with me. So on the 30-minute, we're seeing exactly the same sorts of structure here as we just talked about on the hourly. Okay, where effectively price rejected off of that high there. It then created this sort of this support here, and then from there we've then got the lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So what we need to look at now with this candle now is, can this candle effectively create a resistance here for price to then push back down to that support? Keeping in mind that the 4-hour candle opened here, so you would expect normally for a lower wick, especially on a candle that's so early into it. This could effectively be the top wick ready for it to form. As I say, we've got to wait for price action. The price needs to print so we can take a trade. If price then pushes up and starts to break these highs here on the session, then we could start to look at potentially price is going to transition into buys, okay, because we'd start to see bullish market structure on these lower time frames. The key thing I always remember is that your higher time frames will give you the overall direction, but within there you will get pullbacks on the 4-hour, on the hourly, and you will see those pullbacks and the transitions on the lower time frames a lot earlier than you will on the higher time frames. So that's where we have to look at market structure. Is market on the lower time frames now creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, which would then give us an indication that potentially that pullback's finished on gold and now we're going to continue going bullish? Or are we still seeing the lower highs, lower lows, which tells us that we can look for the sells? Now, until this candle here closes, okay, we don't know. There is no way of knowing. Granted, it's sort of breaking the highs, but it can easily reject off that area and print bearish. So the key thing is wait for price action. The only thing I'd say is that at the minute, the ranges are really good to trade in. Even though it's quite messy, we've got potentially this clean range here. If this closes bearish, you've got almost 100 pips to move down even just to that level there. Okay, so that's a good price to be able to try and catch your move. Just remember, you don't need the whole market. We just need small bites as retail traders to make money. Okay, failing that, we've got NFP, like I said at the start. It's going to create a lot of volume and volatility. My recommendation is to stay out of it, don't trade it. But if it does, we need to then see what the market prints, okay? And once the market has settled down, start to see what the market structure is looking like, especially on the lower time frames, even down to the 15 and the 5 minute, where you might be able to see better, cleaner entries, okay? But for me, it's going to be a matter of sitting on my hands, wait for NFP, and will a trade come up? Key thing is protect your capital. Don't force a trade, and if it doesn't feel right, the chances are it doesn't meet your trading plan. Okay, stay safe.